A shadow of doubt. Will Tennessee halt executions amid protocol concerns? The clock is ticking for inmates on Tennessee's death row, but a growing chorus of legal voices is demanding a pause. Attorneys are urgently requesting Governor Bill Lee to halt all scheduled executions until a critical legal challenge to the state's newly implemented execution protocol is resolved. Is Tennessee rushing towards irreversible actions without ensuring justice? Give a like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Tennessee's execution chamber has been shrouded in controversy for years. All executions have been paused since April 2022, a halt triggered by a disturbing oversight in the preparations for the execution of Oscar Smith. This wasn't a minor clerical error, it was a fundamental failure in adhering to established protocols. The pause was initiated because a required purity test for the drugs intended for Smith's execution was never performed. This shocking revelation came to light through a public records request filed by attorney Kelly Henry, exposing a potentially fatal flaw in the state's execution process. Internal communications revealed a troubling tug-of-war within the Department of Correction, raising serious questions about the commitment to following established procedures. Henry suspected, and later confirmed, a pattern of non-compliance that cast a dark shadow over the integrity of Tennessee's capital punishment system. The concerns raised by Kelly Henry led to an independent review, the findings of which were released in December 2022. The report confirmed the worst fears. Drugs used in 7 executions since 2018 had not been fully tested, a blatant disregard for established protocols and a potential violation of inmates' rights. This revelation sent shockwaves through the legal community and raised profound ethical questions about the state's commitment to ensuring humane and lawful executions. The review painted a picture of a system plagued by negligence and a lack of oversight. The implications were staggering. Were these executions carried out using substandard drugs? Did inmates suffer unnecessarily due to the state's failure to adhere to basic safety protocols? The questions demanded answers, and the need for reform became undeniable. In response to the mounting criticism, Tennessee scrapped its previous 3-drug protocol and introduced a new one, utilizing a single drug, pentobarbital. While seemingly a simplification, the new protocol has been met with even greater scrutiny and legal challenges. The new execution manual, while outlining the use of pentobarbital, conspicuously lacks specific directions for drug testing. This omission raises serious concerns about the state's commitment to ensuring the purity and efficacy of the drug used in executions. Even more alarming is the removal of the requirement for drugs to be sourced from a licensed pharmacist. This decision opens the door to potentially unregulated and untested substances being used in executions, further jeopardizing the safety and legality of the process. Attorney Amy Harwell, a leading voice in the legal challenge, has been particularly critical of the lack of clear rules and safeguards in the new protocol. She argues that the absence of specific guidelines creates an environment ripe for error and abuse. The concerns surrounding the new execution protocol have culminated in a legal challenge filed in Davidson County Chancery Court. Attorneys Amy Harwell and Kelly Henry, representing inmates on death row, are spearheading the lawsuit. The lawsuit argues that executions using pentobarbital violate the 8th Amendment of the United States Constitution, which prohibits cruel and unusual punishment. The attorneys contend that the use of pentobarbital can cause excruciating pain and suffering, rendering it an unconstitutional method of execution. The case is expected to go to trial early next year, presenting a crucial opportunity for the court to examine the legality and constitutionality of Tennessee's new execution protocol. The outcome of this trial could have far-reaching implications for capital punishment in the state. The legal challenge hinges on the argument that pentobarbital, while intended to induce a painless death, can in reality cause a range of adverse effects, including a sensation of suffocation, muscle spasms, and intense pain. The attorneys will present expert testimony and scientific evidence to support their claim. In light of the pending legal challenge, attorneys Harwell and Henry have formally requested Governor Lee to pause all scheduled executions. Their request is a plea for reason and caution, urging the governor to allow the court time to thoroughly consider the merits of the case. The attorneys argue that proceeding with executions while the legality of the protocol is under judicial review would be a grave injustice. They emphasize the irreversible nature of capital punishment and the potential for executing individuals under a potentially unconstitutional procedure. As of now, the governor's office has not yet responded to the request, leaving the fate of the inmates hanging in the balance. The silence from the governor's office is deafening, raising questions about the state's willingness to address the serious concerns raised by the legal community. The decision rests squarely on Governor Lee's shoulders. Will he heed the call for caution and allow the legal process to unfold, or will he proceed with executions despite the cloud of uncertainty surrounding the state's execution protocol? The legal challenge is not just about abstract legal principles, it's about the lives of real people. Several inmates on Tennessee's death row are directly affected by the outcome of this legal battle. Oscar Smith, whose execution was previously halted due to the drug testing oversight, was scheduled for execution on May 22nd. He was convicted of the brutal murder of his estranged wife, Judith Smith, and her 2 sons. Byron Black, convicted of murdering Angela Clay and her 2 daughters, had an execution date of August 5th. His fate, like Smith's, hangs in the balance as the legal challenge unfolds. Harold Nichols, convicted of the rape and murder of Karen Pulley, is scheduled for execution on December 11th. While not a client of Harwell or Henry, he could potentially benefit from a general reprieve if the governor grants the request. Donald Middlebrooks, whose execution has already been stayed, is awaiting the resolution of a separate case challenging Tennessee's execution protocols in federal court. His case highlights the broader legal challenges facing the state's capital punishment system. These are not just names on a legal document, they are individuals whose lives are at stake. The legal challenge represents their last hope for a fair and just resolution. The legal challenge is a critical test of Tennessee's commitment to justice and due process. The outcome will determine not only the fate of these inmates, but also the integrity of the state's capital punishment system. The eyes of the nation are on Tennessee. Will the state uphold its constitutional obligations and ensure that executions are carried out in a humane and lawful manner? Or will it rush towards irreversible actions without addressing the serious concerns raised by the legal community? The answer to this question will have profound implications for the future of capital punishment in Tennessee and beyond. The stakes are high, and the need for vigilance and advocacy is greater than ever. The legal challenge is a reminder that the pursuit of justice is an ongoing process, one that requires constant scrutiny and an unwavering commitment to upholding the principles of fairness and due process. The future of these inmates and the integrity of Tennessee's justice system depends on the outcome of this legal battle. The time for action is now. The situation in Tennessee is a stark reminder of the complexities and ethical dilemmas surrounding capital punishment. The state's troubled history with execution protocols, the questionable new procedures, and the pending legal challenge all point to a system in dire need of reform. We must demand transparency and accountability from our elected officials. Contact Governor Bill Lee and your state representatives to voice your concerns about Tennessee's execution protocols and urge them to support a moratorium on executions until the legal challenge is resolved. Share this video to raise awareness and educate others about this critical issue. Donate to organizations like the American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, and the Tennessee Innocence Project, which are working tirelessly to protect the rights of the accused and ensure a fair justice system for all. Only through collective action can we ensure that justice is served and that the state does not proceed with potentially unconstitutional executions.